took on a lot of people, and he spread us into Israel.
No. It was never carried out.
It was never finished.
Never finished.
So the answer is we don't know who they are.
So Michelle says, many people have asked me, why did God allow the genocide of these 7 nations you have mentioned, and why is that acceptable to God? Well, God didn't just allow it, God commands it according to the Torah, it seems like. Or maybe Moses just made it up. Like maybe God said to Moshe, oh, these 7 nations are really getting on my nerves. And Moshe said, oh, how can I get right with God and prove I'm really strong? I'm going to tell the Jews they got to commit genocide and wipe out these 7 nations.
Right. That James and Noachai just hit it. He said, why allow a cancer to spread? Because these 7 were inherently very, very bad. You know, they were doing some terrible things. They were doing human sacrifice. They were all this kinds of crazy idolatry and stuff. And they believed in all these polytheism and paganism and polytheism, and believing in all these, God of this and God of that, and it sickened God. God hates idolatry more than anything else because he gets jealous. Because why are these people paying attention to that, and they should be paying attention to me? You know that in the movie Ghostbusters? Did you ever see Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
Who are you gonna call?
Yeah.
And did you watch the first one?
I don't remember.
Okay, so they go into like City Hall or whatever, and Dan Aykroyd goes, it's going to be Revelations, and it's going to be we're talking in biblical proportions, and they said, well, who are these people? What's going on top of this mountain? What is this about? And he said, this goes back to the Hittites. So whoever was involved in that movie did a little research and was actually right up one of the 7 Canaan nations with the Hittites. And this is the kind of shit that they would do, They was pretty accurate, They had like this woman and she was possessed, and it's just like that's the kind of shit that they were doing, and was sickening him.
I've seen some women who looked absolutely possessed in movies, and the things that they would do. It's like I didn't think like any normal woman who loved her father and her father loved her. Why would she act in such a possessed way with so many strange men that she doesn't even know? I mean, it felt like these women maybe they'd absorbed the devil into them. They were just possessed by this wicked spirit, and the things they were doing, it just didn't even seem physically possible.
Right, and there was always, God hates it when terrible things go on top of Eretz Israel. And back then, what was going on was the Hittites were doing, human sacrifice and all this crap. And today they've got Russian strippers doing lap dances.
This guy, when I used to cover the industry, this guy sent me an all-Israel porno movie made in Israel.
Oh, yeah.
And so, it had all the familiar themes that you'd expect in a porn film, including 2 guys with 1 woman, and all sorts of...
Sick.
Yeah, absolute depravity.
I
watched it because I wanted to see what it looked like.
You wanted to have an opinion so you could talk about it.
Yeah,
so
an
purely journalistic.
Opinion. But I was kind of curious, what would a film like that look like set in the Holy Land?
The only difference is, instead of her moaning, she's going, hey, 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 hey.
It definitely had a Zionist line to it.
Okay.
Now, James and Noah had said that when corruption gets out of hand, like in the era before the flood, the ground is cursed. So man's sin was so great that the ground was cursed.
There's abortions in Eretz Israel?
I'm sure there are abortions in Eretz Israel.
I don't know anything about it.
There were the 3 women I knocked up.
Really?
No, I've never knocked up a woman so that she's needed an abortion, to the best of my knowledge.
Blev the Champ, this guy.
That's Benjamin. He named he named his last name, named his shul. He's a.
Yeah, we're gonna call his rabbi tomorrow and find out it's really him. But this Ben guy, he asked am I a Zionist. This guy obviously has never watched any of our videos before. Look at last week's show and you tell me if I'm a Zionist. I'm going to have to go with a no on that one. Because we did a whole segment last week about that.
So how do you react when a guy tells you Jesus loves you?
I think it's great. I'm really glad that Jesus does love me. You could ask me another question. What if you said like Jesus hates you? And that would be like indifferent.
Well, the goy don't speak that way.
But it like Jesus loves you. I'm sure Sigmund Freud loves me, and
well,
Karl Marx
I heard
loves
this
me.
Orthodox rabbi say.
Everybody loves Rav. You know what I mean?
Well, I heard this Orthodox rabbi say you shouldn't even repeat that phrase. He said, "I would rather die than say that phrase. Jesus loves you."
Let me ask you this: What about the Rebbe? What about the Lubavitcher Rebbe loving you?
They don't speak that way. And don't make fun of the Rebbe.
They do. I can.
Okay, some do.
They do. I can show you. Probably if we Google very quickly, I can show you on the internet posters with the Rebbe's picture in Israel, and they're like, "Oh, the Rebbe loves you." It's the same as Christianity. It's no different.
Yeah, it's weird for me to go into a home and there's a picture of the Rebbe. Like, I'm not used to that kind of adulation of a human being. It seems weird to me. And also, Chabad, they observe the 9 days differently. There's not nearly as much sadness in Chabad. They don't have, all the downers. It's like, we got it, the 9 days.
Oh, that's because they learn it.
They learn about the temple.
It says Matin Besimcha.
Serve God with joy.
No. When Av comes,
Mm-hmm.
it says reduce and enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
So most people learn that that means you reduce the amount of things that would bring you joy. Chabad learns it as you reduce things, but you do it joyfully. Like, you have less meat, but you don't even have 9 days by you. He's like, we're not allowed to eat meat. For those who don't know, right now, Ashkenazi Jews are not allowed to eat meat this week.
Yeah, it's really tearing me up inside.
But this guy's a vegetarian, so he's like a Sephardi this week. But Sephardim even don't, they start Saturday night, this coming Saturday night. You know about the difference between Ashkenaz and Sephard?
Not so much.
Okay, Ashkenaz, we have what's called the 9 days.
Right.
So that started last night, so for 9 days we don't eat meat, and we don't don't go surfing, and whatever.
No, you're not allowed to look at porn for the 9 days?
You're allowed to look at porn? No, are you allowed to look at porn for the other 300?
If you got a header from your route.
Oh, well, then it would go right through.
Would it walk through?
You're going to have porn, you shouldn't be dancing. The whole thing is that you shouldn't be dancing.
Oh, right.
So if it leads to dancing, don't do it standing up.
Right. Exactly.
So what am I saying here? So the Ashkenaz, we follow what's called the 9 days. So from the first day of the month of Av until then the Tisha B'Av is over with, was actually 10 days. You can't have meat. Sephardim don't follow that. They call it the Shavua Shechal Boy Tisha B'Av. It's the week that Tisha B'Av falls in, so that starts next week, because Tisha B'Av's next week, it's not this week. So they would start this coming Saturday night with all their mourning. So this week you'll see Sephardim eating meat.
Can you get ahead of Mehira to look at porn?
Where you sell the porn, you sell your eyeballs to a goy. You sell your eyeballs to a goy, so it's not really your eyeballs. I sold them to a goy, and I'm looking through his eyeballs. And it's not. I'm not really looking. I just have my eyelids open. What am I supposed to do? Right? It's like the eyes. They don't belong to me. They belong to somebody else. I can't help it. They come. Whatever comes in, I'm not responsible for. It's on his cheshbon. It's on the goy's cheshbon because I sold my eyeballs. I think that's fucking brilliant. I'm going to do that from now on. I'm going to sell my eyeballs to a goy. All right. So
who do you think? So I'm going to run down my top 5 favorites to win the Super Bowl this year if I was putting money on it. So number 1, I would say New England.
What's the Z word? Do you know?
Zionist. Let's talk about football. Concentrate on my
Torah. Okay.
Okay, so my Torah is New England's got to be the favorite to win the Super Bowl. Number 2, Green Bay. Number 3, I'll go with Philadelphia. And then for 4 and 5 tied, I would say the Jets and Pittsburgh.
Okay, you know what?
So
I haven't
Who's
seen.
your number 1 favorite?
Okay, but there's a lot of trades and stuff, and I haven't really. I gotta be honest, I haven't kept up on the trades, so I don't really know.
Just speak from ignorance, like you normally do.
Fuck you. I like Philadelphia. Michael Vick is back.
Right.